I think I've got the sound okay so that you can hear. So now my voice should be a little bit louder than the river. So I'm trying to find some place to get comfortable. This might not be the spot. I'll put it in pause. And then I'm gonna translocate. Scotty, beam me up. Okay, you know what was in the location, the transporter room? Men in dresses and women in black suits. Anyway, that's all cool, that's good. So the main thing is that we stop unfairness, right? Because this is team fairness. And I want to document some really fascinating paranormal phenomenon. Yeah, some phenomenon. It was a phenomena. I think I got that right. A singular phenomena, plural phenomenon, or something like that. Anyway, I have been having this issue with leaving my coat for my whole life. So several years ago I left my coat, and I didn't even try to go back and get it. And so the gang stalkers were ganging up on me about the coat that I didn't go get and how they have my coat and that has some power over me or something. No, it doesn't. It's the cloud has power over them. So I'm not concerned. The cloud of unknowing. It's a Christian mystic writing, 1400, anonymous author. And I was told I got the cloud. So a sword came out of the cloud to me one time. And then I gave the sword back to the cloud. So the cloud is protecting me. Someone anonymous, something anonymous, will protect me from harm and will give me victory over those that are doing me wrong. So it's working really well. I just don't know. I was getting angry about everything when I would be done wrong, and so now I'm taking this different tact of just I don't know. I know nothing, and nothing is all powerful. So there you go. That's the size of it. What's the size of nothing? It doesn't compute. So it's infinite. Anyway, this coat business, the other day, it was several days ago, a friend told me that there's a hanger, coat hanger, where I was sitting. And he told me how when he forgets coats, or if he's worried about it, see, you got to understand, this is like super determinism, or the total will of God that you cannot vary from in any way, or it's called super determinism. Same result. Everything is totally destined. It's your fate. I'm already in this fate. It's my destiny, both. So he says, put your car keys in your coat pocket, and then when you go outside, you'll realize that you don't have your keys, or you'll realize it by the time you get to your car. That's a really good idea. I was seeing how I was being mentally tormented, like psyops, mental warfare. And so I went off and forgot my coat anyway, yesterday. So I went back to get it, and it was already closed. And went first thing this morning, and it was still there, and so I could keep track of it, and nobody had taken it. I was talking with a friend about how this power that's here that we can't see can actually bend spoons for us or relocate an object from here to there. So it's a godlike power. If it's not God, it depends on if there is one or not. So I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned with stopping unfairness for everyone. I got to the car. Oh yeah, first I got to tell you an important detail. A young woman came in, and I didn't see her. I turned because the waitress was like, "Get her," kind of a thing. It's just a game going on. She got away, and she didn't steal my coat. So I was wondering that, was she gonna steal my coat? And she left, and we're trying to get rid of this. Something smelled dead today, several places. So I'm hearing a friend of mine died. I don't know, like somebody died at one time and they didn't find the body for several days because nobody knew and nobody went and checked. And anyway, I went out and looked at the car, and I saw the license plate, so it could probably be retrieved through hypnosis if somebody really needed that license plate. I don't need the girl. She was quite attractive. That's all I did notice. So I get my coat. I'm ready. I've had my coffee and I'm heading out the door, and I get my coat. So I got 2 coats with me. And I get to the car, and I throw the coat I'm carrying in the car. And then I'm taking off the other one so that I don't need it. It's warmed up by now. And I'm getting ready to drive home. And I threw the coat on the other seat. And I know that I was on target. It was hitting the other passenger seat. I hit the passenger seat with my fist when I was angry the other day. I got the door opened up again, and I looked at the car interior, and the coat is hanging on the rear view mirror that's on the windshield. It had been nicely hung up, collar on top, just like it was a place to hang a coat, on the rear view mirror in the car. And I knew it was some magic, some paranormal PK. It's called psychokinesis, where a mind can somehow move or bend spoons or create storms. Who knows? I've had dreams of stopping nuclear missiles and things like that. And I also had a dream about making one explode. And about a few months later after that, there was a nuclear sub explosion under the ocean. It was a USSR submarine, and they had a disaster with their reactor, and this sailors died down there. So I have these kind of strange coincidences happening all the time, daily. Yeah, good friend. So anyway, I go home and I go for a walk, and I buy me a can of Quaker Oats at Winco, and I go back home and have my breakfast. I make a funny video about, well, I put some humor in it because it's in my kitchen, and it's got Quaker Oats in it and the trail mix. And then the the notes in the description, I put, "Do you want to touch my nuts?" I thought that was hilarious. So I'm entertaining myself with humor and my free thinking that it has not been taken from me. And so even though I've been deprived and even though I had my finger in the way of the video, sorry about that, there could be some significance to that finger. It's just the way it is. When you get to the source of creation, they called those kind of people sorcerers, and they were capable of doing magic. Well, I must be a sorcerer, but I know it's not me that's doing the magic. It's like Jesus says, it's the Father that does the work. So I get my cooking video finished, and I decided to watch a movie on Amazon Prime, and I reloaded a movie called Other Life, and I had started the movie last night, and I'm interested in it, so I finished watching it today. And it's about this woman that they're in this simulation reality, and it gets really dicey, like terror, like the most terror you can imagine. They got caught into it, and so I'm like trying to be fair to every single person, and the butterflies and the trees and everything, because it's the power of life. That's where our power comes from, and the afterlife gets its power from the life that's living. So I offer them energy if they're continuing, and so I'm not so mad about people taking my energy from us anymore, because I think it's going for a good cause. And so, thank you. So once you get this established that you're here to help and not to harm anyone, the deck was stacked against you until you arrive at that conclusion that I've decided to help and not harm other people and all life there is everywhere. And any conscious mind, conscious aware mind that makes choices, whether maybe it's not living. So I'm helping that form of consciousness also. So I don't think I've left anything out. That, the only thing that I'm not concerned about feeling pain is just the items that don't feel any pain, and they don't form any thoughts, like a rock. And we can connect our mind to the rock, and then that can do something unexplainable sometimes. I won't go any further into that kind of magic. I did have dreams about you could get caught in the crystal, get trapped into the forms, and I dreamed I was tired and I got stuck in the concrete when I was trying to fly through the wall, through the concrete, in my dream. And okay, so back to the woman that didn't take my coat in real life, but in this Other Life movie, she's wearing a coat, and it's very important that she's got that coat. And I can't follow it completely. I'd have to rewatch it to sort it out so that I can keep track of what's going on. But I needed to watch it because they told me I will understand, and I'll understand later, because I had a precognitive dream about the eyeball. They dropped this black drop into the eye that puts them into this simulated world. And that reminded me of the Rig Veda and the drop that makes people immortal. And we're thinking it's psychedelic. And so the graphics in this Other Life movie was psychedelic patterns. In fact, I've seen those patterns, those exact patterns, when I'm in a mushroom church, and so I use it as a tool to defeat evil, to stop unfairness. That's why I take it. And at a microdose level, it's miraculous for me. I can see why the government corporations are against it, because the corporations don't have a patent on the substance. It grows wild, you know, and it can be cultivated easily, like peyote. And the native people, the indigenous Americans, have the right to do the peyote ritual. And this substance that is paralleled with this movie through the drop, we got the drop in their eye, and then they would go into this simulated reality. And the bad guy that didn't care about what happened to her, the woman with the coat, she got justice by tricking the guy that did it to her by rubbing some of the black out of her eye and rubbing it in his eye when he didn't have a chance to stop her. And he got her trapped in the terror world. You got to see it. It's on Amazon Prime. Other Life is the name of it. So I've been watching Philip K. Dick's movies. Through a Scanner Darkly was really good, where the policeman got addicted and undercover cop that had to use dope, and then he gets addicted to the dope, and then it's a story about how that resolves. And there's like a camouflage suit. It's science fiction, so you can't see who these other people are because they look like somebody else. Or in the movie, it was just showed you that he was in camouflage. And that parallels with Satan in the Bible, because he's counterfeit or camouflage. But like the Gnostics figured out, if the God is the bad guy, then his enemy's the good guy, and that would be Satan, the snake. And that parallels with the cobra. That's his stepfather is Shiva, destroyer of evil. That's who snake Christ protects. Lord Shiva, creator of everything. It's another creator of all, like Quetzalcoatl or Allah. There's a lot of stories, like in the Native Indigenous Americans Sioux language. I think it's Sioux. It's called Wakantanka. So I'm honoring Wakantanka, just saying that I'm feeling grace. 2 ducks just landed. See what I mean? The synchronicities start happening. There's a piece of cup on the water floating down. Oh, so that reminded me about the solution. They're drinking from this cup in the movie Other Life, and it reminded me of years ago. I was at AA, and there was a Christian preacher that had a lot of persuasion over people that was in the mix. And so I have a dream that this solution, being the solution, not the problem. So the solution was like this pure sex power in a glass, and nobody could resist it. And I fought with all my will I had, and I was able to say, no, I don't want any. And so they were drinking that solution with 3 cups in the movie. I don't know what was in it in the movie, but while I'm watching the movie, there is this push of energy on me that from watching the movie, from seeing them drinking something in a solution. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I'm thinking it's got a tie to a connection to a synchronistic connection to Joseph Coate, because yesterday I learned that in Egypt at the Nile Delta, there's a place further south on the west side of the Nile that's green. You can see it with satellite pictures. And it's called, the canal they dug to get the water there, from research in geography and seeing it was a low place and that they could do it by just building a canal. And they named the canal Joseph's Canal for Joseph's the moat. That they paralleled it, they labeled it to make the connection with Joseph's Coate and him being thrown in the moat, and then going to Egypt and getting the power by going to Egypt, and then coming back and saving his family from starvation. My counselor that I had that said that Because it's usually the person that gets sent to counseling is not the problem in the family. He's like the litmus test that shows there's a problem in that family. And I became bipolar, and my counselor said, "You're lucky you didn't become schizophrenic." And it's really close to the same thing. He told me that the story of Joseph's coat, and like hold your head up, and because you're gonna have power to do some help one day from your experiences. And I was tore up from the floor up, and I knew there was he told me, don't try to change your mom, it's not even worth bothering, just walk away. So I end up walking away from my family completely. But there was a lot of stuff in between with me having extreme trouble with my anger. So something I want to talk about is like the power the women have with their purse, you know what I mean? It's like my back pocket or whatever end you want to talk about. So it might be the end, that's button A. I push button A when it's so horrible that I want everything to be destroyed. I push button A. And then you can make a lot of humor out of button A if you want. It's like in Canada, they used to always say, fucking A. When we was kids, they would say, like, where you guys been, bumming around? You been bumming again? And we're like, yeah, we just been farting around and stuff. So they used to say some really strange things. Like I've been called numb nuts. So I had a dream that somebody touched my nut sack. And I might have been on the toilet. It's like, you who we're here, whoever you are, hello. So they used to say, if they were trying to get me under control, you want me to cut you a new one? It's a good time for the pause. The bear pause, the monkey pause. So, if you ever get terrified, look at that log rolling. Awesome. It looks like a big old grizzly bear rolling down playing like he's a log. Old man Rivers got him. So don't worry. Anyway. I've had a request, telepathic request. I'm thinking it's about talk about the doe. Red doe. There went a duck. There's another duck. 2 ducks. Drake and a hen. If I zoomed in, you'd see this stuff better. There, I got it zoomed in. Maybe too much. Well, we'll leave it that right there for now. So I'm actually just getting through the day and trying to have fun doing it. Enjoying my free mind. I'm a free thinker. That's called an atheist sometimes. And I am an atheist because I think it's superdeterminism without a creator of it. And how that happens is what science is about. And so I've been explaining that science is revelation of actual truth. And on the Gnostic program last night, the word pleroma came up. and it means fullness. And I can see patterns, and I understand how revelation works. These star people, or God Almighty, whatever you want to think, tells us the story in different locations that match up later. So the Mormon women used to make quilts, and they'd patch pieces together. So there's like this cosmic sewer that's patching the people into place somewhere. And I always got a strange feeling when they were doing that. It's because they're forcing us to deal with the energy of the square next to us. And it's really terrifying. So that's what that movie was about, this extreme terror. It feels like somebody's going to kill you or put you in eternal lockup for all ever. I don't know, maybe they keep you from dying too. So that was a really freaky, scary, eternal hell kind of a program. But the idea was that there's a way to get out of that by hacking the items in the simulation, understanding the items in the simulation. And so I've been telling people that to get out of an eternal stuck place, eternal hell, trapped, because I dreamed that the aliens that had to control us were trapped. And see, we're making a deal with them with the World Fairness Agreement and Team Fairness and Church of Fairness. Take your pick. So, yeah, so they can show up in physicality now. So, see, the Mormon Church told us that the Satan people can't become physical. Well, see, they tell you that. And like the spirits that were telling him what to write, they told him to write that, and they told Muhammad to write what he wrote. And they tell me a lot of what I'm writing. They help me with words a lot of times. They're very helpful. They just said interject. Like that's a word that they might help me with, to interject something into the conversation. And so what I'm trying to demonstrate is that all of us are connected to this telepathic, paranormal phenomena, and we don't have to hide it so much, but we can keep it secret. That's part of the deal. We forgive you if you'll forgive us, and your past life is secret, and my past life is secret too, and we don't care about the past anymore because we've both agreed to not do each other wrong. That's the deal. That's the way of fairness, Team Fairness, Church of Fairness deal. That's explained in the World Fairness Agreement in more words. So I have a bead that's going to land on my back of my head where you unplug from the matrix, and maybe he's making sure I'm not plugged in so they know it's for real. So I'm imagining he's a simulated hornet that's a AI creation. Kind of like Jesus created out of mud pies, he'd create pigeons in the infancy gospel, and he killed a young boy. He was mad at him and he killed him. And his mom says, "You can't kill people, Jesus, you're in trouble. Bring him back to life right now." And so he did. And so Jesus had to learn to control his temper and what he does with his power, you know. Don't harm anyone, do no harm, don't do anyone wrong. We're here to help, not to harm. So the toggle on my smartphone, I don't know where I got it's like it might be pollen or spores that I don't know where I touched my thumb, but it's right on the toggle from last time. I don't see anything on my thumb, but see, this is significant. I had a really powerful spiritual experience. So we get gifts from having connection to communication from some other mind. And we also get attacked. So it's the battle between good and evil, or fairness and unfairness. So evil can actually be defeated, and we just have to convince everybody to stop doing other people wrong, and the evil is defeated right then and there. Now I got a strong pain in my left wrist. That was it, because you can see, because I got my medical band on my left wrist. So yeah, it's like hurting. I was hearing about somebody got arthritis so quick that their hands were all twisted up. I don't know, maybe really fast. So if you're being attacked by pain or by attack thoughts, just know that they'll stop. They might give you extreme terror for what seems like quite a while.